This image right here is what you would call a pickaninny. This is an image, a drawing, a representation of Harriet Beecher Stowe's character called Topsy from Uncle Tom's Cabin, right? And to know who Topsy is, we're gonna play a clip from our show, right? From our Monday through Friday, right?
Right.
I just came up with a new hashtag, and we're gonna be spreading this out because usually we say hashtag TFR Podcast Live OB in the episode, but now come up with a new, cleaner hashtag. This is gonna be the new hashtag, and it's gonna pervade over everything. Hashtag Observations TFR. So when you're looking for the film review, what we're doing now, it'll be hashtag TFR Podcast Live. And not too long in the future, when you look for observations, it will be hashtag Observations TFR. It's cleaner that way. So we're gonna play a clip where we talked about on our Monday through Friday show, observations, hashtag observations TFR, but you'll find it right now at hashtag TFR Podcast Live OB.
Right.
We talked about, my sister broke down the information about Topsy out of the Uncle Tom's Cabin, the character out of Uncle Tom's Cabin, as we were talking about Topsy and Bopsy from Lovecraft country, right? So, well, let's just go through it and then we'll be right back on the other side. Here we go.
Topsy was a character that came from the book Uncle Tom's Cabin by Harriet Beecher Stowe years ago. But in this Lovecraft country, they represented antagonists that the young lady had to face, the girl had to face, where they were trying to attack her, and the way they were attacking her, it brought terror. In the book Uncle Tom's Cabin, the character Topsy was representative of Dee just said it, that it was a figurative reference, but she enters into the storyline as filthy, bruised, and scarred. You know, she's dressed in tattered clothes, and she's an example of what happens when human beings are treated as commodities. Her parents were no more than breeding stock, so she was just an offspring. She was the stock of their breeding. She had been treated no better than a herd animal. So she didn't have the polish. She didn't have what we would call the social norms at that time, certainly not in this time either. So she probably couldn't read. She probably couldn't write. She probably had no feelings because she didn't know what love was. She had not been loved. There was no love. It was just abuse, mental abuse, physical abuse, psychological abuse, or any kind of abuse you can think of. She had been a victim of it, and she's wearing it. So when you see these two, there you see one is very light and one is very dark. And in the book Uncle Tom's Cabin, there was a character, a little girl named Eva, who was white, and she was the daughter, and she liked to play with Topsy. In the book, she played with Topsy. So what this says is, here's a mirror image. You become what you created.
Mirror image, and you become what you created, right? So this is Topsy, right? This is the image drawn by Harriet Beecher Stowe, right? But guess what? Besides Topsy being Topsy, Topsy is the prototype of what would be called a pickaninny, right? And we have some art, you know, about the pickaninny. before we get in talking about Topsy and Bopsy, right? So she is, we don't know if Harriet Beecher Stowe did such a good thing or a bad thing by making this archetype in Uncle Tom's Cabin, but she is a pickaninny. And you know, once something catches on and you know the capitalists in this country figure they will come out with things. Now this is an ad about a watermelon freeze. I guess like that shaved ice or whatever it is, 5 cents, right? And it's a pickaninny. It says eat seeds and all. Pickaninny freeze, 5 cents, right? So this is an example of the pickaninny. They always deal with the hair. They probably saw the people wearing the locks, starting to twist, right? And they would, you know, then take that and run with that and make that a negative thing. But thank goodness that we have come through that and don't find that to be a negative thing and just say, you just need to get you some. You need to get you some business. Right? So look, here's another pickaninny depiction. And it says, honey is waiting for you. Waiting for you. Right? Honey tis waiting for you. Right? Another pickaninny situation, right, that they put in your face. So this is what you would call psychological damage happening to the population at the time. Now here's one that is extremely vicious, which I believe is really a representation of Topsy throughout the book. Because as you see, as my sister described Topsy, you see that this one right here, this is Uncle Sam, or rendering Uncle Sam, and Topsy is barefoot and she has her hands out and she has the pickaninny braids, right? Now, that is extremely heinous. But this one right here, I think, is the most heinous image, one of the most heinous images of all, because it deals with attacking the children. And I think that children should be off limits. But here is one right here. Little Pickaninnies. It appears it was a book of some kind. Little Pickaninnies. And as you see, these are well-dressed children, but they're still calling them Pickaninnies. Now, do you know some of the most famous pickaninny people who they use to represent the pickaninny? Do you know some of the more famous ones?
Oh, the Farina?
That's right, Farina, people. So this is Farina. This person right here, his last name Hoskin. He played Farina in over 105 episodes. 105 episodes of Little Rascals Are Gang, right?
You know, when I was a kid, I always thought Farina was a girl.
I did too. Now wait a minute. Initially in the beginning, because they did another black character the same way before they let him blow out his afro, and we're gonna get that for a minute. But this person right here, that is a hard pill to swallow, especially when the NAACP came around and all that. And he was born in 1920, right? And he died in 1980. He only lived to be 60 years old. Hoskin, right? Who played Farina, right? Now, 105 episodes. You can't really live that down. You didn't know what you were doing, you know. Now, here's an example of how they would use another character.
Buckwheat.
That's right, Buckwheat. Now, when Buckwheat first appeared, Buckwheat looked like
Farina.
He looked like a pickaninny. And look at this photo right here. Cute little boy that white doll. That is heinous. That is an insult.
Now, I always knew Buckwheat and Stymie. I knew that they were boys, but I thought Farina was a girl.
When I was a kid first coming up, because they mixed the episodes together, Our Gang and Little Rascals and stuff. So when I was first coming up,
oh, you thought Buckwheat was a little girl?
I thought it was because I couldn't tell. I said, I said, is Buckwheat a little girl? And here's the image why I say that, because I was doing my research and I came across how because he was a little older in the image that we have right now. But this is when he first came in.
Oh, cute.
And is this a boy?
Well, right there it looks like a little girl.
Right, and he had the and the pickaninny.
Like little barrettes or ribbons.
Right, well that's what it was. That's the pickaninny braids, right? And so these are the psychologically damaging images that they were putting across about black people at the time, right? So Lovecraft, the writers of Lovecraft, right? You can look up the writer for me real quick, the head writer. The writers of Lovecraft bring you an episode 8, which is entitled, let me find it real quick. It is titled Jigaboo Boo, right? That's what episode 8 is entitled. And they bring you on steroids representation of the pickaninny, or what would be considered the jigaboo,
right?
And they bring it to you in the form of Topsy and Bopsy. The young girl, Diana Freeman. Now remember these names. Diana Freeman is haunted and hunted by these two characters right here, Topsy and Bopsy, after a corrupt police officer, Captain Lancaster, puts a curse on her in an alley as Diana is fleeing from her best friend's funeral. Right? Boo Boo, who is actually AKA Emmett Till, right? So he puts a hex on her, and the first thing that she happens to focus in on is Uncle Tom's Cabin, a book of Uncle Tom's Cabin, and Topsy turns around and looks at her. And this starts the curse off. And this is where this is running now, and you're seeing these ghouls. They are ghouls. They are on steroids representation of the psychological damage that was done by looking at images that were really we could just call it what it is, anti-black. And these two ghouls, these two demons, began to follow her and do this particular dance, which is very, as my sister said, very demonic and twisted. Now, the two people who portray Topsy and Bopsy are Bianca Bruton. She plays Bopsy. This is Bopsy right here to the left, right? And then Kaylin, KK Harris, portrays Topsy. Now, when I first saw it, I thought that Topsy was the dark skin and Bopsy was the light skin, but kind of fact out that the writers switched it up because of the negative, I believe, because of the negative connotation between, having a dark-skinned character represent the Topsy character all this time in the future. But either way, these two are horrifying. It had chills running up my legs. The last time I had chills running up my legs is when we went to the movies to see The Ring. I mean, I don't know what it was about The Ring, but The Ring had chills running up and down my spine.
So they're saying the show creator, Misha Green, she's also one of the executive producers, and she also wrote the pilot for the episode.
She wrote the pilot, right?
Yeah.
So right here, people, we have some behind the scenes. You see, to put something together like this, to put something together like this is straight, sheer dedication and fortitude, right? Yeah. To put these two characters together, it takes a lot. And right here, it takes a lot. It takes rehearsals. It's not just getting out there and just doing willy-nilly what you want to do. These two ladies are skilled at what they do, and what they do is what is on film, and is what sent chills down everyone's spine, of people's legs, people having nightmares over Bopsy and Topsy. And this is the behind the scenes making of how they went about, and we're showing this to you right now, how they went about making Bopsy and Topsy. We're playing that right now.
2, 3, 4, 6, and 8, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, 6, and 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 8, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, 6, and 8, and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Now, this was on Bianca's Instagram, and she at first said that she was discouraged about doing the role because I don't know if she actually knew about blackface, but this is what this is. And now this is a white actor, and they have something about that song, the Camptown Lady. Now you know who this is. This is Beyonce, right? And why would you say we're watching Beyonce? You see this young lady right here, dancing right here, that was in Beyonce's Coachella performance.
Right.
This is Bianca Bruton. And so it just goes to show you, she played Bopsy in this. It just goes to show you that Beyonce is truly, once you get with Beyonce and you have talent, you will be recognized and you will move forward. And so all success to her. She comes from out of Florida, right? So, man, let me tell you something. If you're not watching Lovecraft Country, if you're not watching this show right here, let me bring this up so that you can see this. If you're not watching this show right here, you are missing a tour de force. Lovecraft Country. We have to talk about it almost every week.
Yeah.
That's how good it is, right? Yeah. That's how good it is, right? See, episode 8 is a social commentary. It shows how well-meaning adults can be so wrapped up with what their concerns are, to the point the children are left to fend for themselves. No one will listen, and for the most part, they won't recognize the person. The child is gone until it's too late. It hits on child abuse, child abduction, and the damaging images of self children, American black children, witness via media. What do you have to say about episode 8?
I mean, I agree. We talked about that, and not to give anything away. So hopefully everyone has seen Lovecraft Country, but if not, definitely watch it. But we talk about how the little girl she's mourning the death of her best friend, and we talk about how she's being blown off by the adults. There's this one scene when she approaches one of the adults, and she's trying to tell her that she's being chased by these demon ghouls, and the adult that she runs to just blows her off. So this little girl is left to dealing with this on her own, right?
And they were supposed to be searching for her, but then they all got wrapped off into. I'm trying to figure out was that part of the curse too, that she wouldn't be listened to. Okay. So I mean that's all in it, but it's a social commentary being put across within this entertainment, and we've told you there are certain shows, Lovecraft Country, right? Watchmen, right? And last week we reviewed Fargo 4, right? And tonight we're reviewing The Good Lord Bird tonight, right? So this is this show right now. This season is where it's at.
Yeah.